Daily Mail now, and a little bit of jostling with a T to determine the turf on which the election battles will be fought.
Indeed. Woke issues don't matter to the public, claims Keir Starmer, who's repeatedly struggled to define what a woman is. I believe he is absolutely fundamentally wrong.
Yeah.
And I think he's making a massive...
Culture wars are important.
Absolutely. Of course, that's partly why we're here, just through the interest of it, because I believe it was so important.
Our careers depend on it.
Well, it's not just our careers. I came here beyond this, before this was a career. I watched this channel before I actually appeared on it. And I think he's making a fundamental tactical mistake because they did do well, and I'm glad that they did.
Yeah.
It was despite those issues.
Yeah.
And because it's more that the Tories have just been so arguably so terrible over the last however many years that's why Labour's done well. But for him to sort of go, he's sort of going, no, don't worry about all that. People care about the NHS. He's wrong. People do care about the NHS. They do care about cost of living, but they really also care about this stuff. And the more that comes out, the more mad stuff that we've seen over these last years, people do actually care about it.
And it affects the NHS as well. Obviously, if you've got the NHS transitioning children from the age of 9, giving them drugs and hormones, I mean, that's an NHS issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when, as well, he's trying to convince us that, the Labour Party are going to come in and sort out the economy and so on, which is what all that other stuff is based on. He hasn't really managed to demonstrate an enormously different sort of programme that I think is going to convince people, well, I will put up with a certain amount of trans nonsense because look at their economy.
Well, his most recent comment on it was that the majority of women, 99.9%, do not have a penis, which means that he thinks that 1 in 1,000 women does have a penis.
It's got to be the single drop rule, isn't it? Really?
And then, as many people have said, if you can't trust somebody on something as fundamental as that kind of truth, what can you trust them on? And I understand why he's doing it. He's trying to have his cake and eat it and all of that, whatever. But he has to take a stand on these issues. And look, let's not pretend the Tories have been great on this. All this stuff came through under a Tory government, under Theresa May, because they were trying to out-left the left. And that's what got everybody in this mess in the first place.
The irony is that, I mean, you almost wonder whether it isn't like a secret operation by the right wing, the things they've managed to drip into the public consciousness. I mean, maybe the newspapers, to some extent, it has been, but they completely failed and fumbled it. So far.
But these woke issues really do have real-world ramifications. I mean, grooming gangs, for example, were allowed to operate pretty freely because the authorities were afraid to apprehend them because they were afraid they'd look racist.
If you can't speak the truth, then everything else falls down. That's true.